The issue is under the name of Deputy Broughan to ask the Minister of Transport, Tourism and Sport the need to include the Malahide Road bypass at Clare Hall Belcamp in the 2016 capital plan. The Deputy has 4 minutes.
Thanks, Cathaoirleach. Well, as the Minister knows, master plans for the North Fringe of Dublin City and the adjoining South Fringe of Fingal County, they were first drafted about 15 years ago by the planning departments of the two councils, and a new urban district of perhaps 10 to 15,000 people, an ancillary commercial development was being planned, providing for a future population of perhaps 40,000 plus people. Unfortunately, the crash of 2008 brought much of the development to a halt, and the discovery of high pyrite levels in the foundation infills and the insulation and other construction problems greatly delayed the much needed completion of the core of the North Fringe or South Fringe area. The spine of the city region, of the new city region or new county region, Cathaoirleach, it's a main street, of course, or boulevard running from Clare Hall, Burnell on Malahide Road, Dublin 17, across Belmain, Priory Hall, Clongriffin to Clongriffin Town Centre, which of course is alongside the planned town centre of the Coast development in Fingal South Fringe. Now, a number of key road improvements are absolutely a prerequisite, Minister, for the development of the master plan for the North Fringe, South Fringe districts. These include, of course, the Hole in the Wall Mine Road improvement. It's now been addressed by Fingal, Dublin City and Fingal County councils. The proposed Northern Parkway, which would strongly link the County Council new town and the City Council new town, and most importantly the Malahide Road Re-alignment or bypass at Clare Hall Burnell, which is a joint project of Dublin City Council and Fingal County. The Malahide Road Re-alignment, of course, was a key roads improvement objective, Minister, in the 2005-2011 Dublin development plan, which I helped to put into that plan. Dublin City Council road design, construction engineers and the North Central Area management teams held widespread consultation on the project and of course especially with their Fingal colleagues, and produced detailed plans for the proposed realignment. Traffic on the very busy Malahide Road was to be diverted, of course, to the west at Dáil Belcamp and over a new bridge across the N32, or now known as the R139, through Belcamp College lands, and then moving back eastwards to rejoin the Malahide Road near the Mine Road junction. In the Dublin City Development Plan 2011 to 2017, at section 5.1.4.8, under road capacity improvements, the construction of the Malahide Road realignment is also a key objective. Realignment's importance is underlined in many reports since 2008 to the North Central Committee of Dublin City Council and to the North Fringe Forum, which the Minister might know is a residents and stakeholders group which meets quarterly to review the progress on the South Fringe and the North Fringe. At our recent North Fringe Forum, which took place on Tuesday last, North Central Area Manager Mr Dave Dinnigan highlighted efforts by Dublin City Council to encourage well-planned development at a key site on the junction of the Malahide Road, the R139 and Clare Hall Avenue. That's the site of Clare Hall Town Centre, Minister, and an earlier effort by the local authority to develop the centre was stymied by the withdrawal and collapse of Stanley developers, Stanley builders. But a critical public infrastructure necessary to create the environment of the new Clare Hall Town Centre is the urgent funding and construction of the Malahide Road bypass or realignment. The bypass will take massive north-south traffic out of the location, and with other measures to ease the east-west traffic flows will permit a true urban retail and services centre to develop, where the Tesco, Clare Hall shopping centre and the Hilton Hotel are the kind of flagships of commercial development at the moment. The last detailed report we received from DC engineers cost the project, Minister, at €50 million. That was a couple of years ago. But as a key measure to enable the sustainable completion of the North Fringe, South Fringe region, capital expenditure on this realignment would be a very valuable investment. Many thousands of new homes, services and business are needed in the region. In addition to addressing our catastrophic housing crisis, this road investment would be a huge boost to the public infrastructure needed to complete the North Fringe urban region. So I urge the Minister to ensure the National Transport Authority makes the project a priority for the 2016 capital programme. And I noted in your recent announcements, and by the way, I hope your recent reconsideration of Metro North is not just a general election ploy, that you're sincere about this, Minister, because as the Cathaoirleach knows, it would be devastating for the north side if you dangle this carrot in front of us and you're one of our deputies yourself and then don't follow through on it or help to follow through on it. So I hope that's real. But there are many important road improvements. I know the N11, the new Ross bypass, the road connecting us with the Sligo and Donegal, the north west regions. I'm in favour of all of those, strongly support all of those. But I think for our region, and I think the Cathaoirleach would be 100% in support of this, we should do the Malahide Road realignment. Thanks, Cathaoirleach.
Minister, you have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, Deputy, for raising this matter with me. I'm very familiar with the area that the Deputy is referring to, as you'd expect, and there's a text that will be circulated to you, but I just want to pick up a few points in relation to us to respond back to what the Deputy has said there. You'll be aware of the overall situation in relation to road funding overall, from a height of nearly €3 billion in 2008. This year, the amount of funding that's available to me for road construction and maintenance is €760 million, which is a decrease of nearly two-thirds. Alongside that, there is a huge pressure now on the money that I have available to fund a whole range of different projects. And the Deputy referred to some of the national projects elsewhere across the country that there's a great need for. You also touched there on some of the speculation there in relation to Metro North. I'm not going to get into what the proposal will be because I have to get Cabinet approval in relation to it. But I do want to assure the Deputy that whatever proposal goes forward, and I hope does receive Cabinet approval, will be one that we're going to be able to we're confident that we can make happen. Because I am aware of the number of times different plans have emerged, and some of them have happened, but many of them have not. In relation to the particular road that you have referred to, because I have followed up on this in order to respond back to your question, the funding situation at the moment for both Fingal and Dublin City Council, and indeed the other Dublin councils, is in view of their implementation now of the local property tax. Each of those councils are now in a surplus position in terms of their overall finances, and they may well be in a position now, and they are in a position indeed, to self-fund services themselves, including road expenditure. In relation to the particular proposal that the Deputy has made there, in relation to the Malahide Road bypass near Clare Hall, at this point in time, my department has not received a proposal from any of the local authorities in relation to that particular road. That may be for different reasons, and maybe the Deputy may well be aware of them in terms of looking at what that proposal would be or the cost of it. But as I speak now, I have not received a proposal in relation to that road. There will be a capital plan, I believe, next week, and that will reference some projects that will be progressed. But it is also my anticipation that other projects could be deployed out of the funding that local authorities themselves will have available to them. But at this point in time, Deputy, I haven't received a proposal, and my department has not received a proposal in relation to that particular road. And perhaps in your response back, you might be able to offer a perspective on that, because I am aware, because I know where you're referring to, that there is a need to look at the road infrastructure in that part of our north side of the city.
Well, just on the point, I know certainly around 2012, early 2013, there were very detailed plans at that stage, and I think your predecessor, would have received even some outline requests for support, maybe, because obviously it's a project that encompasses two county councils, and that needed that kind of background support. But I go back again, I think that. To the North Fringe. I mean, I advocate for many years that we'd have a strategic development zone in the North Fringe, or in the South Fringe, when we talk in Fingal terms, a massive new city region, and that if we'd had an SDZ, which we should have had, and we still, I mean, you could take that to government as well. I still believe we should have an SDZ for the region. You would have had, I think, key infrastructure like roads, schools, services, everything going in as people moved in. Now, we've had a pretty terrible time, and the Cathaoirleach can back me up, I think, in every single word I say, with the North Fringe and the South Fringe, because the prior rights situation was a horrendous imposition on young families, young men and women who struggled to save, paying mortgages and so on. We had insulation problems, all types of problems. And if you look at other countries, for example, when the North Fringe was first being mooted, some city councillors, I think, may well have visited, in fact, Stockholm, where Stockholm has 4 local authorities like us. The northern part, they were building a new North Fringe, but they tried to put all the integrated services in together. That certainly includes roads, includes taking major traffic out of the new centres. There was a place actually called Hammarby Soby in I believe in North Stockholm, other EU capitals as well, you know, where there was a kind of major development of the town. But the roads was part of creating a new urban district. Now obviously we're going to have massive changes in South Fingal, in the north part of Dublin City, particularly our county manager envisages Swords, for example, becoming a major regional, I think it's something like the 5th city in the country already, isn't it? Or 5th or 6th anyway. A major regional city. We're hoping to have, you know, major services in terms of education, health and so on, and encompassing obviously the population going back to Dublin Bay North in mostly in the city area. And a key part of progressing this, I think, is to look seriously at this road. And by the way, just a final point about Metro North. When the previous RPA had a big consultation in 2008, and they had 3 sort of corridors for the new Metro North if we went ahead with it, our Metro stroke heavy rail. And one of those corridors, of course, was the western part of Dublin Bay North, coming up through Coolock from Drumcondra. Now, eventually, RPA decided for the kind of alignment that was being talked about in press statements and so on about your reconsideration of the project. But the result was anyway, because people felt you had to pull northwest into this.
Thank you, Deputy.
But as a result, anyway, the western part of, if you like, Dublin Bay North, we have obviously the Dart. We're lucky to have that in Malahide, Portmarnock and so on, the eastern part of our region. But the western part was sort of left, you know, out of the equation. So therefore, we do need some major, you know, transport, public capital infrastructure as well.
Thank you,
I think the
Deputy.
Malahide
Your
bypass.
time has expired.
Yeah, one last point. Thanks, Caherlick. You're very generous. The last point. So the Malahide Road, Minister, I just want to bring to your attention, I don't know what's going to happen when we have this big election in a few weeks or months' time, and who will be sitting behind your desk. But if you were still there in whatever circumstances, I would hope that you might say, you know, just remember the Malahide Road Re-alignment and help our engineers in both counties to bring it to pass. Thanks, Caherlick.
Minister.
Thank you. Look, I heard the 2 different points that the Deputy made there. My priority at the moment will be to find a way to significantly improve the public transport access on the north side of our city that will affect, and I believe really benefit many of the different communities that the Deputy has referred to. That will therefore mean there will be other things that I won't be in a position to do, or any future Transport Minister will not be in a position to do for a period of time, because it is going to require investment to put in place a new public transport access for the north side of Dublin. In relation to your second point there, in relation to the Malahide Road itself, as I said to you, up until now, I haven't received my department hasn't received a proposal in relation to it. There may well have been some costings or work that happened a number of years ago, but I will be